Have you ever felt overwhelmed by negative thoughts and can't seem to shake them off?
So
And
whatever it is we're looking in for others, it's what we are maintaining for ourselves. So
I don't understand why it can't be easy. Like, why can't you just contact me? Why can't you just message me and say, "Hey, just so you know your dog's been getting out, can you block it?" So
nobody else has to experience the goodness of me if I truly believe I'm a really good person.
I'm like, are they just all talking about me and talking about us here?
I can't stop thinking these negative thoughts like, well, what should I do? I should have answered back this way, or this is how I should speak to her, and this is what I should do. And that's all happening, of course, to heal the wound. Right.
Have you ever felt overwhelmed by negative thoughts and can't seem to shake them off, and they consume your present moment where you can't even be present in the moment? I've recently had an experience with this and actually find myself in this quite often. So I'll just give a little something, a story that happened this weekend. I went camping with a friend. We brought our kids with us. I brought my daughter. She brought her kids. And I just, my mind kept coming up with a recent experience that I had in my neighborhood. Our dog had gotten out, and I was in the garage with my dog. He ran over and kind of got aggressive towards the neighbor's dog because he hasn't seen him like all winter. It's been a long time and we haven't exposed them a lot. My dog is a sheepadoodle, so he has protective instincts. And so he wants to protect the home. And sometimes he wants to protect the neighborhood. So obviously, I know it's not his place to run into the neighbor's yard to bark at him or get him mad. Um, but anyways, when I went over there like 10 seconds later to get my dog back, or I just said, "Oh, hey, oh, sorry, he just came running over here." But when I got there 10 seconds later, they were just like sniffing each other's butts. And I can hear when he first went over there, he was pretty aggressive. And but I was like, "Oh, they chilled out really quick." I'm like, "That's pretty good." Like my dog's figuring it out. And I was like, "Oh, hey, would this be a good time to like let our dogs have exposure and get used to each other?" And she was just really angry and really aggressive and was like, "No, and he this," and she was just really angry, upset, and she's like, "He's a bad dog." And I was just like, "Whoa." So I just grabbed my dog and like took him back home, put him inside, and then I just stayed in the house and just stayed away. And it kind of shocked me. Like he didn't bite anyone. Like, why is she so upset? Especially when I got there shortly after, they were just sniffing each other's butts. I thought it was all good. And anyways, all of a sudden later that day, animal control came and knocked on our door. And I was like, "Oh, she like called animal control." And so that was kind of frustrating that she never came to me and just said, "Hey, will you please try to keep your dog on a leash?" Or she has my phone number. She never, and I live right next door. So I was just like a little bit kind of deflated and bummed that she went straight to animal control rather than talking to me. I feel like I'm easy to talk to and take accountability. And um anyways, so and then it was like several days later where my little dog got out. He snuck through. We even have two fences to try to block him in, and he figured out how to crawl through just like a couple inches. I had no clue that she could get through this tiny little spot, and we tricked her into watching her get out. And then, anyways, I got a message from her partner that just said, "Hey, if your dog gets out again, we're going to call animal control." And I was just like, "Whoa, okay." So we ended up having this talk, and like I sent her a message the next day after I calmed down, because I didn't want to talk to her that day when I felt like kind of my body was stressed, how angry and aggressive she was, and calling my dog a bad dog and everything. And anyways, so I sent her a message that I thought was really kind, and the next day, and she just apparently got really upset over it and thought I was gaslighting her, and said that when we tried to have a talk with her several days later in person. And they just basically said that they're just going to call animal control. They want it documented. And it was really hard for me because it was just, and I let them know, like, "Okay, if that happens again, you can just like message me and let me know, and I'll just make sure we block and keep our dog in. We don't want our dogs running around and getting out." And um, yeah, it was just like really frustrating that she didn't come to me first. And I was like, "Man," and they were very clear that they were just going to go straight to animal control. And so I found out after the fact the reason they were so angry is because I guess for the past couple years my little dog had been getting out into their yard, and they never let me know about it. And so these were like the last tipping point where they never came to us. And so the anger and resentment had been building up with them. And it was like the last straw where they just freaked out and they're like, "You guys are not responsible dog owners," and all these things. So I guess my question is, And then I'm camping and like my mind is just so frustrated with like, gosh, like, why can't people be nice and kind to each other and like neighborly? Why couldn't they have come to me first and just asked, like, just said, hey, just so you know, this is going on. Your dog's been getting into our yard. Would you mind just like finding out where she's getting out so she's not pooping in our yard and just block it so we don't have to clean up after her? And I would totally take care of it. So I'm in this camp out trying to have a good time, and my mind is just like feeling kind of like betrayed and hurt by like, oh, well, that's not very neighborly. And then I'm just having a hard time being present. And then I'm thinking, like, oh, what could I have said differently? And what could I say differently next time? And okay, now there's tension between me and the neighbor. And I'm like, I thought I tried to talk it out nicely, and she just wasn't wanting to be nice about it. And so I'm like, okay, do I need to try to wait a couple weeks and then go back to her and have a conversation with her again to try to clear the air? Because I don't like knowing that someone feels like I'm irresponsible when I feel like I very much am. But her story is something totally different where she feels like, oh, you're a irresponsible dog owner and you need to be more like all this stuff that I'm like, I'm just feeling like it was projections on me. I don't know. It was just really hard. And I just am like, how do I just let it go? I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, but Rain, I don't know if you have any ideas of how I can like let that go if I am supposed to have a conversation or just I need to be able to just drop it and let these negative thoughts go. But I'm having a hard time because my mind's just going there. What do I do?
Well, it's really tough to let go of negative thoughts. It's not something easy. It isn't something we can easily do. But you said something very interesting that I hadn't heard before, which is I don't like feeling like I'm irresponsible. So it feels like the main source of the pain and the trigger is this irresponsibility. So it's not what she did, it's not the situation, it's the fact that somebody somewhere is assuming you are irresponsible. And this need and desire to let her know that I am responsible, as if when she gets to know, then you can feel better. If she can acknowledge that you've done this thing where the most important thing in your life or the title you've held up for so long and you've made sure to maintain, somebody now has cracked it for you. Or somebody's perception of you has cracked that image of irresponsibility within yourself. And that's where your true pain actually lies. Okay. So if we have a title for ourselves that is whatever title we've lived up to, let's say when I was a child, the one thing that I got respected for, or the one thing that, even if my family threw all the responsibility in the world on me, it felt like a good thing because I was being seen, I was being heard, I was being appreciated for a quality, right? So now I can never let go of this quality trait. Now a neighbor comes along and it just turns out that she's ruining that for you, right? So this deep need and desire to get her to get it where you will feel more comfortable and you can settle back into self. But this is a trigger. And this is the beauty of understanding triggers. So yes, we're going to go into what to do with negative thinking. But before jumping into how can I get rid of the negative thoughts? How can I save myself? How can I stop this? How can I be more present? Before going there, there's like this magical thing that just happened, which is a window. It's like these portals open for us when we are triggered to be like a wound, a wound, a wound. And just think of it as like these alarm systems. Wound, wound, right? Something that's been there for years and has been driving you through fear the whole time, but it's of no service because what it actually does is it allows you to be consumed by how do I fix it now so that I can gain that title fully, right? Is it making sense so far?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So just by highlighting that one thing, that's what's really important to listen to when people are talking about their stories, because in all our stories, and it's not because Mel, I do the same, we are all victims of our stories. We are always the heroes, and then there is the villain, right? And this is how life has taught us to villainize somebody, and we become the victim of this villain. And that's very normal and it's really interesting. And that's how we are able to release the pain of the story when we speak to those that we love or we respect, we can release that pain. So but have you noticed that we are always the poor souls of a story? We're always the good people in a story, right? So this is a really good thing because that means that there is a little bit of self-love there, right? That we can all understand that we all have self-love somewhere. We still care about ourselves enough that we will be the hero of our own story. We will be the nice one of our story. So this is a really good thing to notice, right? Oh, I didn't shame and upset myself. I didn't put myself down. I didn't guilt me. I didn't say, oh my God, like I'm so horrible and what is wrong with me? Like that shift in itself is a beautiful shift, right? So that is something to acknowledge. The very important part of acknowledgement, because that means I'm going through the healing and I'm starting to acknowledge that, no, I am a kind person and this is what I expect. And she was the bad person. That's great. That's step one of the evolutionary conscious awareness. And then there's step two, which I don't villainize, but now I'm seeing this alarm system go off, which is what was really triggered inside. Why does it matter so much? She's a neighbor who's in your perspective is like not that sane, who just did like something completely out of whack. And it's like, but I need her to see my perspective, right? She must see how kind and loving and responsible I am. She has to see it. And in a conscious person's awareness, people will just be like, you know what? You got to let it go. Just let it go. It's just a crazy neighbor. What's your problem? If they were in the same situation, they would react exactly the same way. If I was in your situation and I had been in your situation, I reacted the same way. This is normal human survival, right? There's nothing wrong with you. Now, what do we do in this situation when these triggers are there? So, irresponsible is a trigger, is the biggest pain and shame you have in this situation. I'm sure there's many, but this one is irresponsible.
Yes, there
It's
is.
irresponsible now is wanting to come out and speak. That version of you that's all like, I could never be irresponsible, or then dot, 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 dot. That's the one that wants to come out and speak. Now, there are three ways to get this done. But before I continue, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe, press the like button so we can get into the depth of this even more. So, Mel, I wanted to ask you, what does it feel? What happens if you become irresponsible? What does it mean to be irresponsible?
Well, it's like I just want them to know that like I'm a good person and that I really care and that I have a big heart and I want to be friendly and I want to get along and I want to have the peace with in my home and then those around me, especially when it's something I think is really simple and just an easy conversation. So for it to like blow up to something that's such a big deal over something that's like, this is so easy. Like, I don't understand why it can't be easy. Like, why can't you just contact me? Why can't you just message me and say, hey, just so you know, your dog's been getting out. Can you block it? So it's like not feeling heard or seen or people like really knowing me and knowing who I am and then painting out this picture of like, oh, she's this bad person and and then telling all these stories. And actually, what made it even worse that really sucked me into this loop was she made some comments about a couple other neighbors in the neighborhood. And I was like, wait, I went straight to that person to handle my issue with whatever issue we had with my dog, towards them and whatever. Like I've talked to them face to face. I thought we had it worked out. But then for all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, now she knows about what happened with this other neighbor and she knows about this other person. So I'm like, are they just all talking about me and talking about us here because of these just couple things that have happened over years of us living here? Like, so then I'm like, okay, I'm losing trust. Like, gosh, I don't know who I can trust. I don't know. Do I want to be nice to any of my neighbors or friendly or talk to them? Like, I don't want to be pouring so much into relationships if they're just like, if it's not real, if they're faking it. I think I'm just kind of sick of fake people too. And me putting so much energy into these fake relationships, I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm so sick of pouring so much and having it be one sided. And that's with, I'm looking at every relationship in my life with family members, friends. It's just not worth it. I just want to find real people that I can be genuine and real with. And if they don't understand me or get me, then I don't want to waste my time putting energy into it because I'm a deeply passionate person and I put my whole heart and soul into every relationship and person that I'm around. And if it's not going to be received or it's going to be a fake thing, I can't be wasting my energy. I don't want to be wasting my energy. So I don't know. I guess that was kind of a lot of information, but you were asking what it was about not, feeling like I'm irresponsible. It's because that's not me. I feel like I don't know. I guess maybe in some ways I was, and I didn't get to it quicker with the fence when my dog got out. And I don't know. I feel like the most part, I try like really hard though to be respectful. Respect is a big thing to me. So when people say the opposite, it's like hard, I guess. But maybe that's me denying a piece of myself. I don't know.
Okay, so many things. Let's just okay.
I just
So
dumped a lot.
a good person is very important for you. So whatever it is we're looking in for others, it's what we are maintaining for ourselves. So I have to be a good neighbor because I want good neighbors, right? And you keep saying, I put so much energy, I pour so much energy, I pour so much energy. But when you are something, you don't pour energy into it. You just are. Okay. So this isn't saying you're not a good person or a good neighbor. This is saying that you are a good person and a good neighbor. However, the image of what a good person and a good neighbor looks like is way exaggerated. It's according to something that someone said or an upbringing or a movie. It's so way out of whack that you can't just be your normal good person without having to stretch yourself so out of the way that, of course, resentment happens if people can't match it, because it's not your natural state. I could be a good person, yes, but nobody else has to matter that much. Nobody else has to experience the goodness of me if I truly believe I'm a really good person. There's a belief in there, there's a limiting belief in there that we can dig into later. But that's like just something to contemplate. Like, to be a good person, what's the list that I have in my head of being a good person? What's that list that I've invented due to my life experiences? I've gathered, oh, good person is super polite. Good person is super friendly to their neighbors. Good person will always take responsibility. Person, like, what is this fabricated good person that is depleting your energy so much so that when somebody isn't measuring up to being a good person, you get tired. This is for everybody also watching, and especially you. It's a quick telltale sign that I'm exerting more than who I truly am. I don't, I am a good person, but I need to go an extra 10 miles so others could see that I am a good person. There's something there. There's like an extra exertion of self that is squeezing you. And it's not okay just to be the good person who Mel truly is, as if that wasn't accepted for some reason, you know? And so that's kind of the thing that is happening. So it's really always when situations like this happen, it's so much less about these people. And it's very important to know that the existence of this issue is only to open up the wound and the limiting beliefs and the shadow self to be like, all this is happening because she answered this way or she called the pet when she's completely crazy. But I'm feeling all this and I need all this. Now, the interesting part is also in the camping trip. And this is really the heart of the conversation is this happened a while back, 2 weeks ago, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And then the camping trip happened just 2 days ago, not even. And during the camping trip, so carrying that energy everywhere, right? And so the thing is like, oh my God, I can't stop thinking these negative thoughts like, well, what should I do? I should have answered back this way, or this is how I should speak to her, and this is what I should do. And that's all happening, of course, to heal the wound, right? Of I'm irresponsible and this isn't a good neighbor. I need to show them what a good neighbor I am, right? I'm a good person. I need to prove to them I'm a good person. So I'm a responsible person. So the reason the thoughts are this consuming, and it's kind of, this is what anxiety is basically. It's where you cannot get away from your thoughts. It's like you are camping, but you're not even present in the camping. You're in a conversation with your neighbor. You're not camping, because our thoughts are, we've been hijacked by them. Our thoughts just hijack us, and all of a sudden you're living another reality. Yes, you have the tent. Yes, I don't know if it was like greenery or sand, but yes, you've got the environment around you. But you, Mel, have transported back to your actual home. You're not on vacation with your neighbor, writing messages, writing emails, thinking. So you're actually actively there. Now, what to do when we're actively somewhere in our negative thoughts? Okay. One of the most important, so the most important thing to ever do is accept how you feel. I am angry. I am pissed. This is unfair. This is uncalled for. How dare she do this to me? Who does she think she is? And all the neighbors have been talking behind my back. They all suck. I hate them all. And just be that child inside who's truly afraid of being irresponsible and not being a good person, because she's the one who's been triggered. She's the one who's all like, I smile to you every morning. I bring you keys. I love you. And you do this to me. That's the one. So the very first thing is, don't oppress it. Don't try to release it. Don't be like, well, I'm not a good person for holding on to this. There's something wrong with me. I should be pleasant and accept it and all that floofy spiritual stuff. This just flush down the toilet. The first step. The first step, flush down the toilet, be with the emotion, rage, get angry, get upset, be the victim of your situation, completely give yourself to that inner child that's having a tantrum. She deserves to have her tantrum. She obviously never gets the opportunity to have her tantrum. Because if we're trying to live up to good girls don't have tantrums, right? The good neighbors, good girls don't have like issues. The good girls are always like this, you know? So that's the persona that needs to go. And it'll only go when I can accept that I am feeling all this crazy stuff. And I know it's crazy, and that's okay. I'm allowed to feel them. So that's step one. Okay. Is it making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And just getting the permission of, oh, I can feel those feelings. I can feel these mean feelings. I can put in my like to just know, like you have to heal that wound because she's been brushed under the rug her whole life. That's the problem. That's why she's holding on to it and probably resisting this. She's never given herself a chance. I've never given myself a chance. That little inner child of always having to rise above it because it's like I knew how to because I was wise. And so I put myself in that box of, ooh, this wise being, but I'm not allowing myself to be a kid. And I haven't processed what it feels like to be a kid and go through stuff like this because I went into the adult because I was good at that. And that's what I've done my whole life. And so, anyways, it's nice to have that permission of like, no, I can be mad and I can say some swear words if I need to. And I can say, I hate you, even though it's like, I don't, once I calm down, I'm like, I don't really hate that person. But right now, I do. I hate you. I hate you all. I want everything to burn, everyone to burn.
Yeah,
Anyway,
exactly. And that is our freedom. When we are learning what does it mean to be in your present moment? That's exactly it. My present moment isn't, oh, the trees, the sky. That's a different thing. That's if you have a different thing. We'll discuss this in another episode. But the present moment meaning, my present moment right now in the camping trip is angry and pissed and overwhelmed. And I feel sad for myself, and I don't know why people are treating me so unkindly. Who do I need to be to defend myself? This is my actual true now. Can I be in that now in my camping trip? Or do I have to go solve it with my brain, transporting myself to another portal of time, trying to work it out? What if I don't work it out right now? And that's the step one. What if I don't work it out and I just stay with my feelings? I don't want to work it out. Okay. I want to be a child. I want to be bitchy. I want to hate everyone. I want to. And so what? And who cares? We're grown-ups now. We can. Who cares? We don't have a parent on us like, you're supposed to smile. Forgiving is the best thing to do. Like, we have no one telling us anything except like our brain, right? And then step two is, once you allow yourself to feel this and you're like still noticing, because sometimes you will notice you're still projecting to finding a solution because it's a pattern and it's not that easy to break the pattern. But you give yourself permission to feel, and you're still notice like, yeah, well, I should have said this, or, next time I'll be even nicer, or next time, whatever the issue is. You get your phone and you write that message. Okay. And you send it to a friend because you're sending it. But you write what you really want to tell this person, right? Whatever it is in your thoughts, they're going on and being like, oh, next time when you talk to her, okay, in 2 weeks, you're going to send this message. You're going to just type it out as if you are sending, energetically, you are sending it to her because you want to empty it out. You don't want to keep it in waiting for what will I decide in 2 weeks? Who knows? Maybe in 2 weeks she dies. Nobody knows, right? We don't know anything. But in my present moment, I am raging, right? You send a message, you tell a friend, I'm gonna be sending you a message, completely ignore it, like somebody you really trust. You can send me and just be like, Rain, this is about something else, and just send a send whatever. Diplomatic message, whatever your brain is telling you to send that message. Bring it out of your system. Allow the energy out and just send it to a random that has nothing to do with the story. Calmness will come down because you have said what you're dying to say, right? You've expressed it somehow. It's come out and it was sent and someone read it. Sometimes all we need is someone to hear it or read it and to validate. That's it. So that's step number two. Step number three is, I think this is something that we use a lot as neurolinguistic programming in a hypnosis session, but you can kind of use it with yourself, where when you're visualizing and you're trapped in that loop of thoughts, start to give that person a voice like Mickey Mouse. So in your mind, as you're speaking to her and she's answering back and she's being vicious, just hear Mickey Mouse's voice. Your dog was so sad. You change the context of it, right? Because we end up villainizing people's voices. So we're controlling it. Give a cartoon character, right? Like Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse, it doesn't even matter. Give her or him that voice in your head of them speaking. A stupid, irrelevant voice. So if Mickey Mouse was talking to you, or someone with the voice of Mickey Mouse was saying, next time I'm going to call, the dog that I make sure that you are going to, you're not going to take it as seriously in your head anymore. You're going to see the reality that it's all nonsense. So this is the third step. I mean, it's fun to do, and I think it will help once you allow yourself. Step number one, and you can use one of the second steps. But this is what I would recommend. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, I like it. So when I get like negative thoughts that come in my mind and I'm like, I just want to be present, enjoy the moment. I practice one, accepting it and just let it be and just feel it. Just feel it at 100% and allow myself, give myself the permission to basically be a toddler on the ground, throwing a fit of like my daughter will do when she's like, I hate you. You're the worst mom ever. And I just have to filter through like, okay, just because, it's always like a small thing. It's like, wow, this is really dramatic. Allow myself to do that. And like my daughter and our kids are very good examples of this. So just talking to you listening right now, give you that permission. Just pay attention. I assume you probably have a child or so, and to go and yeah, get the example from them of throwing that fit, right? So I allow myself to do that to get it out and then record. What about like recording a message? Just if I don't want to send it to anyone, like recording a message to myself or texting it to myself.
Text it to yourself.
Okay. Is that better than recording it and saying it? Do you think?
Yes,
Just
because you've
word it.
already said it to friends, right? But you're going to be texting her. So it's not a verbal diarrhea with friends. It is, I am now I've sorted out what I want to say,
Okay.
and I'm sending a text. And for the first one, when it is having that tantrum, what's very important is, I heard you say, how do I enjoy my present moment? It's very important to recognize that our present moment doesn't necessarily always have to be joyful, right? I can enjoy my present moment. The only way I can enjoy my present moment is if I'm okay with how I feel in my present moment. That is what enjoy your present moment actually truly means. I'm angry right now. When I resist my anger, I'm not going to enjoy my present moment. When I'm cool with being angry, and I've done this a lot, where I'm like, okay, this day totally sucks. It's a sucky day. I woke up and it sucks. And I know I'm supposed to think positive because I don't know what and do all this work and all this stuff. But there are days and hours where I'm like, I don't care. It's just a sucky time. It's a sucky day. I'm going to let it suck. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy my day in a sucky mood. And within an hour, it's gone. I'm not even sucky because I'm not resisting it. And I'm not like figuring out what happened for it to suck. What happened? No, I'm just it. And that is what being happy in your present moment actually means. So, yes, the first step is just accepting how you feel. Who cares? Honestly, we care too much.
Yeah.
And we don't have to have a tantrum. We don't have to actually throw ourselves on the floor, but you can give yourself
Yeah.
permission to throw yourself on the floor internally, right? You can throw yourself on the floor. It feels really good.
And then what do you do like letting go of knowing like, oh, like dang it, I mean, ideally I would like people to like me to have my voice and us to have a conversation and them know like, okay, things are good. But what do you do when how do you shift the energy of not caring, knowing that, okay, my neighbor just doesn't like me. And in fact, now I lost all respect for my neighbor. She was very, very mean, did not talk kindly to me. So now I'm like, okay, screw it. And I'm just like, oh, like that's kind of an icky feeling for me. And I know I've got other friends too that are just like, oh, I just hate knowing there's tension between someone. I have a hard time like focusing, knowing that there's this tension energy. And it's the same thing. I feel that same way if we've talked about this before, like with my partner. You know, if we get an argument in the morning and he goes to work, I can't even function all day because I'm in my mind in these like looping negative patterns. And please comment below. I would love to hear if there's anyone else like you, girl, you that's listening right now to this. I would love for you to comment below if you find yourself getting into like these looping patterns that just like consume you in your mind. Do you also do this? And if so, what do you do to get out of it? And I would love to hear like, how do I just drop it? Like, what story can I tell myself when that's my like autopilot is to go into, oh, I just feel icky knowing that there's this tension energy between me and somebody else. I don't want to feel it. And I realize as a highly sensitive person, I do absorb all the energies around me. And then I have a hard time being in my energy. And my energy feels really dope. I'm just like chill, easygoing, loving, accepting. And so it like messes with that. So I want to like stay in my energy field and be able to separate of what's mine and what's theirs. So what's the process of that of not caring? I'm so sick of carrying everybody's shit in my backpack behind me. I'm like, I'm just over it. But yet I still
Well,
find myself doing that.
Mel, fabulous. And oh my God, this is just incredible because, yes, it does tie up with what we were just talking about. And I would love if we can actually do an entire episode on this one.
Ooh,
Yeah. What do you think?
okay. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Can we have like episode two? Because this is like, it's how to break that icky tension feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took notes. I took notes so we know the next
Okay.
episode. Who would be interested? Would you be interested to hear the next part of this? And if you are, just give us a thumbs up in the comments or say yes. Or yeah, let us know. You know, because we're going to continue the rest of this. We just want to make sure that for now, you've got those 3 steps. You really got to try them out. Try them out, put in the effort, and we're going to go into the icky tension. Like, oh my God, how can I fix the tension around? It was fabulous, Mel. I loved it. Are you
So,
cool with that?
yeah, that sounds great. All
Okay.
right.
So
Yeah. Is there anything else that we're wanting to go over for this episode?
I think we're pretty good. I think if everybody could try out those 3 things, maybe not all of them will work for you, but at least one of them will. I know that all 3 work depending on what mood I'm in. Try them out. And please let us know how it worked out for you. Was it the first one, the second one, or the third one? Which one of these, you know, techniques worked for you, share it in the comments. And yeah, and if you have any other types of techniques that are working for you, share them with us. We'd love to know.
I love it. Yes. And please give us a thumbs up on this episode. Hit subscribe so you can get a continuation of these other topics that we're going to talk about. And we do have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description, so you can find some of our fabulous jewelry that we have that we offer, as well as digital products to help you on your self-discovery journey. And we also have a freebie that we want to make sure that you guys click on that's in our description. It's 11 essential questions for self-discovery. So these are really great questions to sit with and to be able to explore yourself and get to know you a little bit more. And yeah. And then also make sure you click on this next video. You're going to want to follow it that builds on this episode right now. So click right here and watch that next video, and we'll see you on the next episode.